And good evening, everybody. Welcome. Sorry for the later start here as this game has gotten underway. Had a few equipment issues here, but we're up and running now and ready to roll with Bronco baseball tonight from El Dorado. Kurt Gaden here, and we are already in the top half of the first inning, and the Hayes Larks have already gotten on the board. Michael Burns led off this top half of the first inning with a home run. Brooks Ballesteri grounded out to shortstop. Reggie Wilson singled, and Derek Mount walked. So Wilson's down at second base, Derek Mount at first base, and Evan Gruner is batting for the Larks. 1-0 Hayes here in the top half of the first inning. Let's run down the defense for the Broncos here in this fourth game of the series. Out in the outfield, Tyler Sutherland manning center field. Right field is Clayton Dalrymple. John Eberhart's in left field. Around the infield, Tony Colsting at third base. The shortstop is Grant Ware. Kyle Kasser plays second base. And Elijah Christensen is at first base tonight. Cameron Knight is catching, and pitching is Drew Johnson. 1 ball and 1 strike to Gruner. Outside corner, strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Larks batting order: Burns, Ballesteri, Wilson, Mount, Gruner, Derek Dickerson, Corky Welch, Garrett McKenzie, and Alan Beer is the batting order for the Larks. And the runners running. Cameron Knight, no throw either base. A double steal from Hayes. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Gruner. So the Larks cooking here in the top half of the first inning. 1-0 Hayes, runners at second and third, and the pitch outside. And it's 3-2 now on Gruner. Drew Johnson winds and deals. The pitch high, ball 4. So the bases are loaded. Talked to Drew Johnson the other night. I wasn't too concerned with his numbers, working on mechanics and whatnot. Zach Beery's going to walk on out there. Drew Johnson coming into this game with a 5.04 ERA. He's given up 26 hits in 25 innings. He comes in with a record of 1-3, 7 walks and 16 strikeouts on the season for Drew Johnson. Drew is out of Neosho County Community College, hometown of Wichita. He drives back and forth. Again, sorry for that late start, and apologize to Michael Burns. We didn't get his home run on the air. The wind is blowing out tonight. Really, for the first time in this series, it's although it seems to be letting up maybe a little bit now, it's blowing pretty decently out to, especially to center and to left field. So it could be a good hitter's night tonight. It was for Michael Burns as he led off this game with a home run. Base is loaded, 1 out. Drew Johnson craving a double play ball here. Derek Dickerson up for the Larks. First pitch swinging out to Ware for 1, over to second, now to first. Double play. So it could have been a lot worse. 2 hits, 2 walks in the inning, but just 1 run given up. So it's Hayes 1, El Dorado coming to bat. So the El Dorado Broncos will come up, and again, could have been a lot worse. Only down 1-0. Leadoff home run by the Larks, and then a single and a couple of walks, but a big double play ball gets El Dorado out of trouble. Let's look at the Broncos batting lineup tonight. It's Clayton Dalrymple, Tyler Sutherland, and Matt Holcomb. Holcomb is the DH tonight. Then Elijah Christensen, John Eberhardt, and Tony Colsing, Cameron Knight, Grant Ware, and Kyle Kasser. Out in the field for the visiting Hayes Larks, dressed in their road red tops with the blue numerals. All the teams in this league have pretty good-looking uniforms, and several of them, which is fun to see. For the Larks out in the field, Michael Burns is in center field, Reggie Wilson in right, Evan Gruner is in left field. Alan Beer is over at third base. The shortstop is Derek Mount. Brooks Ballesteri, who's played the first 3 games of the series at third base, moves over to second base tonight, and Derek Dickerson's at first base. Behind the plate, Garrett McKenzie, and on the hill is Brandon Bell. Leading off for the El Dorado Broncos, Clayton Dalrymple, the starting right fielder. He'll look at ball 1. Dalrymple leading the Broncos in hitting. And the 1-0 pitch, that's outside, ball 2. Dalrymple with a .424 batting average, and there's a strike for a 2-1 count. .422 Dalrymple hitting on the season, 38 hits in 90 at-bats. And he'll look at strike 2 in there by Bell. 4 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 home runs for Clayton. He's driven in 20. There's 3 Broncos tied for the team league with 20 runs batted in. Dalrymple, Holcomb, and Colsing. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Bell. High, fastball outside, ball 3. So a full count from Brandon Bell to the first batter of the game for El Dorado, Clayton Dalrymple, and the pitch. That one's low, and good hold by Clayton Dalrymple, and he'll trot on down to first base with a leadoff walk. Dalrymple's been trouble on the base paths for opponents this year. Clayton has 12 stolen bases on the season. Brandon Bell in his 7th game of the season, his 5th start of the season. There's the first pitch to Tyler Sutherland. It's upstairs, ball 1, and McKenzie will go talk to him. Bell has thrown 24 innings, given up 25 hits, 14 runs, 12 of them earned. He's walked 10 coming in and struck out 17, and he has a record of 1 win and 1 loss. Brandon Bell from Louisiana Monroe University. His hometown is Wills Point, Texas. And Dalrymple on the move. Here's the throw down to second. Clayton gets in. Oh, they're going to call him out. Looked like he got his foot in before the tag, but the umpire right on the spot, so Dalrymple is thrown out. So the leadoff man cut down by McKenzie. 2 balls and no strikes to Sutherland, and he sprays one fouled on the third base line. Close play at second. The Larks are probably thinking, finally we got a call. They've had some moments in this series that felt that calls have not gone their way. 2 balls and a strike, and Sutherland laces one to shortstop, and it's gloved by Derek Mount. So 2 away, and Matt Holcomb, the designated hitter, will step up for El Dorado. Matt Holcomb out of Howard Junior College. He has signed a letter to go to Louisiana Tech University next season. And the first pitch is not in there, ball 1. Holcomb, 6'3", 215. batting .373 on the season, 28 hits and 75 at bats. He's hit 8 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 homers. And he'll look at a off-speed pitch for strike one. 1 ball and 1 strike. 20 runs batted in for Matt Holcomb. So the two of the top three RBI guys for El Dorado bat 1 and 3 tonight in this ball game. That pitch outside. 1 ball and 1 strike to Holcomb. Want to remind those of you watching tonight, if for some reason your screen goes black, don't panic. Holcomb a swing and a miss. We are totally reliant on our wireless internet signal. Sometimes we lose the signal for just a moment. And so just have to refresh and we'll get it back for you. So don't just quit watching if all of a sudden it goes black. Here's a pitch to Holcomb, sprayed outside out of the park for a foul ball, and it'll remain 1 ball, and check that 2 balls and 2 strikes. Matt Holcomb, Elijah Christensen next for El Dorado. And the 2-2 pitch from Brandon Bell on its way. Curveball lifted straight up into the air. And over at third base, Alan Beer waits for it to come down, and it does, into his glove, and that will end the first inning, a 1-2-3 inning for the Larks. So we're through 1 inning here from El Dorado. It's Hayes 1, El Dorado 0. Back in a moment here on YouTube. So let's go to the top half of the second inning, and the Larks will lead it off with the designated hitter, Corky Welch. Corky Welch, playing in his 3rd game of the series. He's from Delta State University. Hometown is Leola, Arkansas. And check swing on the high pitch and appeal down to first. And they say a swing, so no balls and 2 strikes. So 0-2 to Welch. McKenzie and Beer will follow. And a swing and a miss and a strikeout for Drew Johnson. Drew struggled in that first inning, giving up a homer, a single, and 2 walks, but Derek Dickerson 6-4-3 double play got him out of trouble, allowing just the 1 run. And he leads off the second inning, striking out Corky Welch. So now Garrett McKenzie comes up there. 1 away in the Larks' second inning. And the first pitch from Johnson. Boy, he's starting to hammer the strike zone. That one's fouled out of play. Garrett McKenzie batting .255 on the season. And a swing and a miss. 5 straight strikes now thrown from Drew Johnson. No balls and 2 strikes. And the 0-2 pitch, and that one's fouled off. 1-0 Hayes. Michael Burns led off the game with a home run, a no-doubter, out to left center field. More center than left, but that was a tattooed ball. Michael Burns was a fantastic player. Here's the 0-2, and that one just dives out of the strike zone, ball 1. The Broncos in the white uniforms tonight with the orange lettering, black sleeves. The 1-2. That one's rifled foul down the third base line. So 1 ball and 2 strikes here to Garrett McKenzie. Quite a night last night in many ways for the Broncos and the fans of El Dorado. Here's the 1-2 high. First off, the atmosphere and the festivities that went on last night here in El Dorado, first class. First class for sure. 2 balls, 2 strikes to McKenzie, and a swing and a miss on the fastball on the inside half. So 2 away, and here comes Alan Beer. Just an electric atmosphere all night long for baseball. Had a 92-year-old throw out the first pitch. Legion Riders. The color guard was here to present the colors. Here's a ball up the middle. Grant Ware fields it, pats it in the glove, fires over to first to retire Beer. Talk more about last night in a moment. We'll head to the bottom of the second inning. The Larks go down 1-2-3 in the second. Hayes leads 1-0. Back in a moment here on YouTube. So the El Dorado Broncos come up here in the bottom half of the second inning, trailing 1-0 to the Hayes Larks. And it'll be Elijah Christensen, John Eberhardt, and Tony Colson. More about last night, though. Again, the terrific atmosphere and the veterans that were out on the field and the national anthem and all the music in between innings and the band that was here playing. I mean, it was just outstanding. I'm sure the webcam that we produce here certainly couldn't capture all of that, but it was a fantastic night. Here's the 1-0, and that's inside 2-0. And then to have the Broncos win in walk-off fashion for the third time in 5 games. And just a tremendous, I didn't see who got the credit on the photograph. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and Christensen fouls it off his shoe, 2-1. But if you go to the El Dorado Bronco Facebook page, there is a picture of the Broncos as Tony Colson crossed home plate. He was mobbed right just to the near the visitors' dugout. And the picture, whoever took it, there was fireworks going off all night out in left center field from other folks. It was not the Broncos firework display that went on after the game. But there's a picture of the Bronco players on top of Tony Colson celebrating, which is fun in itself, and then there's there's fireworks going off in the sky. It was just one of the best photographs I've seen in a long time. So if you haven't seen that, as Christensen draws the walk, go to the El Dorado Bronco Facebook page and look at that. I mean, that picture really describes all the emotions, the joy of winning, the 4th of July, fireworks going off. It was fantastic. And then, as we went home, we found out that Dodge City swept a doubleheader at Liberal, which caught all of us by surprise. With no disrespect to Dodge City, but to win 2 at Liberal, 7-6 and 7-3. So El Dorado picked up a game and a half last night, and they enter play tonight 1.5 game out of first place. Liberal is at Dodge City tonight. 1 ball and no strikes to John Eberhardt. That one's in the turf, and a little trouble finding it, but McKenzie didn't let it go far, so no advance from Elijah Christensen. So a El Dorado win tonight and a Liberal loss, and the Broncos will be in first place as they head to Liberal for the weekend series. Eberhardt, a high chopper. Nice play at short to get one. No chance of getting a double play as the shortstop there, Derek Mount, does a nice job of ranging and getting Christensen out at second. So here comes Tony Colsing. 5-game winning streak. There's been a lot of heroes in this 5-game winning streak. Tony Colsing certainly has to lead the way for the win last night as he led off the bottom of the 9th inning with a sharp single to right field. And now he laces one down the left field line, but foul. But he got everything going with that leadoff single. Eventually got to third. The Larks decided to intentionally walk Clayton Dalrymple, which made all sorts of sense because then that forced a lefty-on-lefty matchup. But after one pitch, the matchup was over. It was a wild pitch, and Colsing raced home from third base. Eberhardt on first. They try to pick him off, and the ball gets away from the first baseman, so that'll be an error on the Larks. E3 or E1? We're going to go E1 on that one, so Brandon Bell will pick up the error. The Larks committed 3 errors last night. They were in a giving mood. 2 unearned runs given up by Hayes last night out of the 4, and then that 4th run, as I mentioned, scored on a wild pitch. Pitch into Colsing, drops in for a strike. No balls and 2 strikes to Tony Colsing. John Eberhardt down at second base. An 0-2 pitch here to Colsing. Eberhardt gets his lead. Curveball, stayed upstairs, ball 1. Tony Colsing hitting just .234, but he has 20 runs batted in. Brandon Bell's got his sign from McKenzie. And the pitch, and that one's outside. Ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Colsing. Cameron Knight waits on deck for the Broncos. Long look in by Bell, and now he's come set. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Colsing, and the pitch fouled. Rolls over to Cameron Knight. Tony Colsing out of Chaska, Minnesota. Feel free to drop us an email, cadenbroadcasting@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you wherever you might be listening and watching tonight. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Curveball, ball 3. By the time it hit the glove, it might have been a strike, but it didn't cross the plate in the strike zone. So a full count now to Tony Colsing. Christensen led off the inning with a walk. He was forced at second on an infield ground out by Eberhardt. Eberhardt reached, though, and now is down at second base and waiting on this one. Colsing lifts it out to left field. He got a lot of it, and that sails over the fence for a home run. Tony Colsing. His 4th home run of the season, his 21st and 22nd run batted in. So the Broncos take a 2-1 lead on the 2-run home run by Tony Colsing. So here comes Cameron Knight. Open stance from Cameron Knight. He comes in batting .273, and he'll look at strike 1. 9 hits and 33 at-bats for Knight. He's got a triple and a home run. He's driven in 4 on the season. And this pitch on the corner for strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes. And the 0-2 pitch, curveball upstairs. And that is ball 1. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cameron Knight. Brandon Bell's got his sign. And the pitch, and that one's in there for strike 3. So not a good at bat for Cameron Knight. I don't think he got the bat off his shoulders that entire at bat. 2 away, and here comes Grant Ware. Grant Ware, 67 at bats on the season, 18 hits. That's good for a .269 batting average. And the first pitch outside, ball 1. 3 doubles, a triple, and a home run on the season for Ware. He's driven in 6. 1-0 pitch to Grant Ware. Slaps it to right field, and it cuts off by the second baseman. Lined it out there to Brooks Ballesteri, who makes the catch and retires Grant Ware. But a 2-run home run from Tony Colsing has given the El Dorado Broncos the lead. We head to the 3rd inning. El Dorado 2, Hayes 1. We're back in a moment from El Dorado. So the top of the 3rd inning is upon us here on a beautiful sunshiny night in fantastic El Dorado. Game time temperature, first pitch temperature, 94 degrees. Michael Burns will lead off the 3rd inning. Burns went deep to lead off the game. And again, I apologize to any of the Hayes fans, and in particular Michael Burns fans, that we weren't on the air when he lifted that one into left center field. He looks at strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike to Burns. Drew Johnson firing in, and that one's in for strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Michael Burns hitting .363 on the season. That home run in the 1st inning was his first of the season. And the 1-2, he hits it towards 3rd. Colsing couldn't get it. Ware's got it. Fires over to 1st, and they didn't get him. That was close. Great play by Ware, but an infield single. Burns runs really well. So a Michael Burns single. He's 2 for 2, and here comes Brooks Ballesteri. Colsing laid out, couldn't get it. Grant Ware in the hole gloved it. Fired over to 1st, but Burns was just able to beat it out. So a leadoff single for the Larks here in the 3rd inning. Ballesteri with a ground out to short, 0 for 1. And he's looking to swing, and inside corner, strike 1. Ballesteri, 208 on the season. 48 at bats and 10 hits. He has walked 15 times. He is 2nd on the team in walks. Johnson, a throw over to 1st. Michael Burns has stolen a bunch of bases this weekend. He has 11 on the season. And I'd say he's got, at least 4 here this weekend. There's a fastball a little bit too far inside. Ball 1. 4-game road trip for the Broncos as they head to Liberal Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Here's the 1-1 pitch. No, we're going to go over to 1st, and back safely is Burns. So a big series, no matter what happens tonight. I mean, either the Broncos could be in first place by a half game. They could be in second place, out by a half game. Worst case scenario, they're in second place, a game and a half behind Liberal. But with 4 games coming up against the BJs, it's right there for the taking. Here's a line drive to center field, and racing in was Sutherland, but he just couldn't get there, so had to hold up and play it on a hop. So back-to-back singles from the top of the order here for Hayes. And here comes Reggie Wilson. Wilson's been another tough out this weekend, 370 batting average. First and second for the Larks, no one down. Reggie Wilson and Derek Mount, the next 2 batters for Hayes. El Dorado leading 2-1 here in the top of the 3rd inning. Johnson will spin and throw to second, and Burns is back. If nothing else, the Broncos are keeping Burns honest. And the pitch from Johnson, laced out into right field. Dalrymple cuts it off before it gets to the wall, firing it in, but Burns with that great speed scores easily, and we are tied. 3 straight singles from the Larks. Nice job by Dalrymple to cut that off. If that gets to the wall, it may score 2, and Wilson's at second or maybe even third. Instead, first and second, and here comes Derek Mount. Mount walked his first at bat, stole a base. Right-handed batter is Derek Mount, batting .353. And he laces one up the middle, and that will get out to center field. Wilson around second. He'll get to third, and the Larks will take a 3-2 lead. 4 straight singles by Hayes here in the 3rd inning. So Ballesteri scores. Wilson goes first to third. So 2 are in here in the Lark 3rd inning. They've taken a 3-2 lead. And runners at the corners with nobody out. And here's Evan Gruner. He also walked in the 1st inning. And the pitch on the corner for strike 1. Frank Leo, the Hall of Fame coach down at third base. Hands on hips as he watches the 0-1 delivery, and low, ball 1. Pretty good jump off of first by Derek Mount, but he didn't go. So 3-2 Hayes here in the 3rd. And Mount is going this time. And Knight fakes a throw, fires down to third. A good throw might have had Wilson. He was off the base a bit, but Colsing had to reach way over into foul territory to make that catch. So a stolen base for Mount. That keeps the Larks out of a double play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Drew Johnson needs a strikeout here. And doesn't get it there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We're back on the air Friday night. Bethany, Oklahoma in town. New team in our league. Here's a pitch and a swing and a miss from Gruner. Much needed strikeout there from Drew Johnson. And already some action in the El Dorado bullpen. Starting pitching has been fantastic for El Dorado. Drew Johnson struggling a bit tonight, though. Here's Derek Dickerson. Dickerson hit into a 6-4-3 double play to end the 1st inning. You might remember Hayes had bases loaded, 1 out, with 1 already in the 1st inning. But that double play got El Dorado out of trouble, and the Broncos trailed just 1-0. El Dorado would take a 2-1 lead in the bottom of the 2nd inning, but Hayes has come back with 2 here in the 3rd. 3-2 Hayes. Four straight singles for the Larks to lead off this 3rd inning before that Gruner strikeout. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and Dickerson looks at strike 1. Looks like Josh Thomas warming up down in the bullpen for El Dorado. Here's a pitch from Johnson, and reaching out and slapping it foul is Dickerson. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, another strikeout here would do Drew Johnson a lot of good. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Dickerson, and the pitch, bouncing it in there, and Cameron Knight sliding over nicely to block that pitch. Dickerson on the season came in hitting .304. He has struck out 11 times in 56 at-bats. So the 2-2 pitch on its way. And that one's outside, ball 3. Shadows covering now home plate. If you play right field at McDonald Stadium in Brad Long Field, you're going to have to look into the sun longer than anyone. Here's the 3-2. Chop towards third, and Colsing will let it go foul. Pretty good decision there. If he charges it, Wilson scores, and it's a tough play at first. Colsing's at third base for the Broncos tonight. Grant Ware at shortstop. Kyle Kasser at second base. And Elijah Christensen, Sparks Christensen at first base. Brad Christensen told me that it was weird hearing the name Elijah. He's always called by, everyone calls him Sparks. Dickerson looks at ball 4. So he said some people watching our broadcast said, who's Elijah? We don't know Elijah. We know Sparks Christensen. So Dickerson walks, and the bases are loaded, and Drew Johnson's in search of another double play ball. Corky Welch comes up. He struck out in the second inning. And the pitch from Johnson. That's in there for strike 1. Welch has good power. Just 1 home run on the season, but boy, he is put together. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Outside, ball 1. Feel free to drop us an email. We'd love to hear from you. Caden Broadcasting, it's C-A-D-E-E-N. Caden Broadcasting at gmail.com. The 1-1 pitch down low, ball 2. Nowhere to put Welch. Johnson has to go after him. Garrett McKenzie waits on deck. The 7th batter of the inning for the Larks. And the 2-1. That's chopped foul. Strike 2. Two balls and 2 strikes. Here comes Drew Johnson's pitch. Swing and a miss. Big strikeout. Second out of the inning. Well, again, damage control right now for El Dorado. If they can get out of this mess with only giving up 2 runs, not bad when you consider 4 straight singles and a walk in this inning. This had the makings of a huge inning. Still does for the Larks with Garrett McKenzie up there. McKenzie hitting .255 on the season, 2 home runs and 10 runs batted in. Swing and a miss. Ball got away from Cameron Knight. Throws to home, and Wilson snuck in there with his right hand. So a pass ball will allow the 3rd run to score. And runners at second and third for the Larks. And a 1-0 count, or an 0-1 count here on Garrett McKenzie. 4-2 Hayes. And the pitch, and a swing and a miss from McKenzie. He struck out in the second inning. McKenzie has struck out 15 times in 47 at-bats this year. Check that now, 16 strikeouts in 48 at-bats. And the pitch, lifted foul out of play. No balls and 2 strikes to Garrett McKenzie. Mounts at third, Dickerson at second. And the pitch, curveball, and again spoiled by McKenzie. Alan Beer waits on deck for the Larks. Hayes has tacked on 3 here in the 3rd. The Broncos will have Kasser, Dalrymple, and Sutherland up when they come to bat in the bottom of the 3rd. And the 0-2. Bounce down to third. Colsing gloves it, fires over to first base, and the Larks are done in the 3rd, but they score 3 times. So we'll head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Hayes 4, El Dorado 2. So the Broncos coming up to bat, trailing 4-2. The Broncos never trailed in the doubleheader Friday night. They also never trailed last night in the 4-3 walk-off win. Of course, we were tied for a while, but the Broncos never trailed. They fell behind 1-0 in the first inning tonight. Took a 2-1 lead after 2, but down just for the second time in this 4-game series. And that has to make Chad Gerwick pretty happy. This team's been playing either even or from ahead against these Hayes Larks. The Larks dropped into 4th place in the division with their loss last night and Dodge City's 2 wins. Hayes coming in 11-13, 5 games out of first, and a game behind Dodge City for 4th. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Kyle Kasser. Kasser from the University of Oregon. And he hits one towards second base. Ballesteri's got it over to first, and Kasser is retired 4-3. So Clayton Dalrymple will come up. Dalrymple walked in his first at-bat, was thrown out on a very close play out at second base as he attempted to steal. Dalrymple, right-handed batter, batting .422 on the season. And the curveball hits him on top of the head. That ball ricochets almost back to third base, but Clayton is fine. And it was a curveball, and it's scary when you get hit in the helmet, but if you're going to get hit in the helmet, a curveball is the pitch to probably get hit by. And it was kind of a slow curveball. So you know there wasn't intent there. He's thrown a curve. It didn't take. Stayed upstairs and donked him on the head, and it ricocheted out towards third base. Clayton runs right down to first, as he does, always workmanlike, and now he gets his lead off of first, and Bell fires over to first, and Dalrymple back in safely. 4-2 Hayes here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Tyler Sutherland at the dish for El Dorado. And the pitch from Bell. Sutherland hits it out into left field, a base hit. Gloved out there in left field by Evan Gruner, and so 2 men on for El Dorado. So it's Matt Holcomb coming up. Holcomb with a pop out to third base his first time. Holcomb from Howard Junior College. Came into the game at a .373 clip. 4-2 Hayes. Broncos trying to answer with the Larks scored 3 runs in the top half of this inning. And Holcomb hits one into the hole. Base hit. Dalrymple around third. And Chad Gerwick will put the stop sign. Clayton Dalrymple does not like seeing red lights. He was ready to go, but Gruner was in pretty far when he had it. And so a base hit from Holcomb. The bases are loaded for El Dorado. And Elijah Sparks Christensen comes up. Christensen's average is dipped down to .309. He has 6 home runs to be one of the league leaders in the Jayhawks Summer League. And the wind is favorable tonight for that result. Here's the pitch from Bell. Curveball on the corner, strike 1. So no balls and a strike. Gina Short's scoreboard trying to start working for her. The line score looks good. And the pitch, Christensen, a swing and a miss. Father Brad is in the crowd. Brad introduced himself to me here Friday night, came up here tonight to talk to us. Fun to visit with Brad Christensen. And he's pretty focused in on this at-bat here from his son, Elijah Christensen. Elijah says he's having a fantastic time in El Dorado this summer. Here's the pitch, and that's on the corner for strike 3. So twice on the corner got Elijah, and that's 2 outs. So now the Broncos need a big 2-out hit from John Eberhardt. Eberhardt's average rising again. It's up to .347. He's gone long 4 times this season. Eberhardt with 18 RBI. And that one's outside, ball 1. Brandon Bell trying to wiggle out of trouble. Kasser led off the inning with an infield groundout. Dalrymple got hit. Sutherland and Holcomb with singles. Bases loaded, 2 out. And that pitch, that's on the corner, strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tony Kolsing waits on deck. Kolsing hit a 2-run homer last inning. At the time, gave the Broncos a 1-run lead. Bell has been working the outside corner with high efficiency. Goes out there again and hits it again. Bronco hitter is going to have to adjust and look to slap that out to right field. Wilson on Friday night was playing very close to the line. Tonight playing much more in a, I guess you would say, normal position. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Eberhardt looking that way outside, and he fouls it out of play. Bases loaded for El Dorado here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. 4-2 Hayes, and now some activity down in the Larks bullpen. Well, game 4 of a 4-game series. Both teams came in with rest. We've seen probably the 1, 2s, and 3s already, and Eberhardt swings and misses. Strikeout. And the Broncos cannot cash in. They leave them loaded. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 3 left. We'll head to the 4th inning. Hayes, 4. El Dorado, 2. So the 4th inning is upon us here in beautiful El Dorado. The Hayes Larks leading the El Dorado Broncos 4-2. Hayes has lost 6 of 7 games to El Dorado this season. They'd like to salvage at least 1 more, and they're on top 4-2, a third of the way through, and they'll lead off this 4th inning with Alan Beer, and Alan Beer will be facing a new pitcher for El Dorado. It's Josh Thomas, who spikes one into the turf for ball 1. Josh Thomas from Murray State University, 6'3", 215. Hometown is Parker, Colorado. And the pitch from Thomas, lifted out to left field, coming in, diving Eberhardt with the catch. John Eberhardt with a tremendous catch out in left field for El Dorado. And that'll bring up the top of the order. There's Michael Burns again. He's 2 for 2, 2 runs scored, a home run, and a single. And the pitch from Thomas, curveball upstairs, ball 1. Josh Thomas with a fairly elevated ERA right now. He's pitched 8 1/3 innings on the year. He's got a 7.56 ERA. Burns lifts one high into the air. Kasser settling under it and makes the catch for the 2nd out. Of course, the problem when you don't have a lot of innings, it doesn't take many runs to blow up an ERA. So Thomas, again, with only 8 1/3 inning coming in, now 9 innings with those first 2 outs. So don't be too fooled by that 7.56 ERA. And here comes Brooks Ballesteri. Ballesteri, 1 for 2. And the pitch from Thomas. Ballesteri lays a bunt down. Thomas comes off the mound. No chance, though. Ballesteri beats it out. Terrific bunt by Brooks Ballesteri. So that's the 7th hit of the night for Hayes. So we're waiting on Reggie Wilson to come up there. The innings for Drew Johnson, he goes 3 innings. We're looking for Reggie Wilson. I don't know if he ran to the restroom or... Looks like a manager doesn't look, a coach down there does not look too thrilled about this. Frank Leo probably not either. There's Reggie Wilson. I'll bet you he was in the restroom. Or getting a hot dog out of the terrific condiments we have here, the terrific concession stand at McDonald Stadium. Reggie might have helped himself to a Doug Bell hamburger or something. I'm not sure. So he's up to the plate now. Kind of got a facetious clap from some of his teammates who will give him a hard time about that, I'm sure. Ballesteri with a bunt single with 2 away here in the 4th inning. Wilson in there, good lead for Ballesteri, and a swing and a miss, and his bat for the 2nd time this series goes flying out into the outfield. That's twice that's happened to Wilson. Last night it happened when Matt Holcomb almost made a play on it over at first base. Ketchup, yeah. Maybe was there some sauerkraut down there? Might have been a little slimy or something. Relish. So Reggie having a fairly embarrassing moment here. First off, getting late to get up to the plate, and now on his first swing, he's missed badly, and the bat ends up out in right field. But do not lay down on Reggie Wilson because this kid is terrific. 2 for 2 tonight. 2 singles for Wilson. The 0-1 pitch. That's upstairs, ball 1. Liberal is at Dodge City tonight. Bethany is at Wellington and Derby at Hayesville. Last night, Bethany, who's got the worst record in the league, pounded Wellington 16-2. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Wilson hits it towards first, and Christensen's got it, and Reggie Wilson is retired. No runs, a hit, no errors, 1 left. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Hayes 4, El Dorado 2. So here come the El Dorado Broncos in the bottom of the 4th inning. And they'll be facing Brandon Bell. The Lark bullpen, they've got some gentlemen down there, but they're all sitting, enjoying the action here tonight. 4-2 Hayes here in the bottom of the 4th. Tony Colsing will lead it off for El Dorado. And the first pitch, curveball strike, 0-1. Colsing, a 2-run home run in the 2nd inning. At the time, gave El Dorado a 2-1 lead. And the 0-1 pitch bounces in, ball 1. Hayesville beat Derby last night 9-3. Hayesville continues to play well. They're 15-9, leading the Jayhawks South. They're up a game and a half on Wellington. The 1-1 pitch, inside, ball 2. So Hayesville at 15-9, Wellington a game and a half out at 13-10. Derby is 7 back at 8-16. Bethany is 5-19. They are 10 games out of first. Hayesville and Bethany, the new teams to our league, and there's Hayesville at the top of the South Division and Bethany at the bottom. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Tony Colsing. And the pitch in there, beauty, strike 3. Colsing knew it too. So for Brandon Bell, that's his 4th strikeout of the night. And now that'll bring up Cameron Knight. Cameron didn't get the bat off his shoulders his last at bat. Looked at 3 strikes and walked back to the dugout. He's 0 for 1. And the first pitch, ball 1. It's a nice, always like this time of evening, there's some shadows across the field. There's some sunlight out there. Some guys fighting the sun, some guys enjoying the shadows, and just very scenic here at Bradlong Field. Knight, a swing and a miss, 1 ball and 1 strike. Grant Ware waits on deck for El Dorado. So the 1-1 on its way to Cameron Knight. That slides outside, ball 2. Two balls and a strike to Cameron Knight. And he checked swings, didn't mean to, fouled it off, 2-2. So Monday through Thursday, we will not have broadcasts of the Broncos traveling to Liberal. Those should be 4 fantastic games. I believe the BJs do have a radio online broadcast from Brock Kappelman, who's a terrific guy. So you can listen on the radio if you check out the Liberal BJs page. Here's Knight spoiling the 2-2, fouling it off. Bethany, Oklahoma's in town next weekend. And then the Broncos will get they'll play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then they'll have a few days off. And in 2 weeks, the Dodge City A's will be here. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Cameron Knight, and Knight fouls it off. Now, the Broncos do have 1 game that they may have to make up with Wellington. And the way the Broncos and Wellington both in second place in their respective divisions, if it continues to play out like it is, they may have to play that game. Now, if it doesn't mean anything, they won't. Dodge City's here July 16th through the 19th. The NBC World Series starts on the 24th. Here's another foul ball giving chase. Over at first base is Derek Dickerson, but it's out of his reach. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Knight is protecting the dish right now. And the 2-2 from Brandon Bell, and a swing and a miss, strike 3. Certainly seen some good strikeout pitchers from the Hayes Larks this weekend. So the number 8 batter in the Bronco lineup is Grant Ware. Ware lined out to second base to end the second inning. And the first pitch to Grant, fouled out of play. And that ricocheted off the light pole and back into play. So no balls and 1 strike to Grant Ware. Kyle Casa waits on deck for El Dorado. The Larks leading 4-2. El Dorado on a 5-game winning streak. 3 of those 5 games have been won in their last at bat. That coming on the heels of a weekend series loss at Hayesville. Two balls and a strike to Grant Ware. And the pitch, and he swings over the top of the curveball, 2-2. Grant Ware hitting .269 on the season. Brandon Bell, long, lanky right-hander, and that one's upstairs for ball 3. And he looked a little displeased on where that one ended up. Brandon goes to the University of Louisiana at Monroe. And the full count upstairs and a 2-out walk to Grant Ware. So here comes Kyle Kasser. And of course, any manager, with no disrespect to Kyle Kasser, but you love to get that 8-man on. Even if Kasser makes out, you know you're leading off at the top of the order in the 5th inning. And if Kasser gets on, you've got runners in scoring position for Clayton Dalrymple. So that was a good at-bat for Grant Ware. Pitch from Bell is fouled by Kasser out of play. No balls and a strike to Kyle Kasser. Modestly for Ware off of first, and the pitch, and it's bounced in there, and Ware will take second easily. That ball goes out of play, so, well, they just say he stays at second base there. I didn't know if they'd award him another base, and now Chad Gerwick's going to come in. He had second base on the wild pitch, and then it rolled out of play, so he should get another base, unless the umpire deems that he wasn't there yet. And now the home plate umpire is going to go talk to the base umpire, find out where was where. It's kind of a tongue twister. Where was where? Ballesteri and Mount visiting with Grant Ware, some middle infielders. And the umpires confer that maybe he wasn't at second by the time that rolled out of play, but sure looked like he was there. Nonetheless, Grant Ware is down at second base on a wild pitch. And Kyle Kasser has a 1-ball, 1-strike count. And the pitch upstairs, and McKenzie does a nice job of getting out of his crouch and making that catch at the high pitch. 2 balls and a strike. Clayton Dalrymple waits on deck for the Broncos. And the 2-1. Kasser cues it towards third base. That's going to be a tough play, and it will just roll foul. The only play McKenzie had was hoping that would spin foul, and it just did. Clayton Dalrymple, terrific teammate, races out, picks up the bat for Kyle Kasser. Maybe putting some good mojo in that bat. Making sure it's weighed properly. And now Kasser will step in with a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Michael Burns plays a fairly shallow center field. He has all series long. And he shades to the left field side. There's a pitch just out of the strike zone, ball 3. So 3 balls and 2 strikes to Kyle Kasser. Brandon Bell reaches down and gets a little rosin. This has been the warmest night of the 4-game series. Full count to Kasser and the pitch, and he'll foul it off. Thursday's game was postponed due to rain. Played a doubleheader here Friday. El Dorado winning 2-1 and 5-1. And then winning last night on the 4th of July in front of a packed house here at McDonald Stadium, 4-3, with fireworks going off all over the place. It was a wild pitch that won it for El Dorado last night. Here's the 3-2. And again, fouled out of play. Good at bat here from Kasser. He's fouled 3 or 4 out of play. Four to 2 Hayes here in the bottom of the 4th inning. And the pitch. Hit up the middle. That's a base hit. Ware rounds third. He's hitting home. Burns fires it in. Safe. Grant Ware scores. Kyle Kasser with a 2-out RBI single. . And welcome back here. We'd lost our link for a moment, but we are back on now. All right, so great to have you back here. We will have more play-by-play in a moment. The El Dorado Broncos have tied the game up. Tyler Sutherland singled, but then Matt Holcomb grounded out. Sutherland's single scored the tying run. We'll tell you more about it in just a moment. This is Bronco Baseball on YouTube. So apologize for that, folks, as we lost our signal there for a moment. Thought I had to create a new link, and turned out that I didn't. So we are 4-4, top of the fifth inning. And the first batter of the fifth inning, Derek Mount. And he ropes a single out into center field. Derek Berginski came in and relieved Brandon Bell. So the relievers now are the pitchers of record. Brandon Bell for the Hayes Larks went 3 2/3 innings. Gave up 4 runs on 6 hits. And here's a bunt attempt by Gruner, and that's another beauty. These Larks have really bunted the ball well. That's a bunt single for Evan Gruner. So the Larks are in business here in the fifth inning. 4-4 our score. And Derek Dickerson will come up. Dickerson is 0 for 1. Grounded into a double play and then walked in the third inning. Back-to-back singles here for Hayes. Josh Thomas on the hill for El Dorado. And the pitch swung on. Dickerson hits it out to Werth. Flips over to second to Casser for 1. Over to first. Double play. So a little surprising that Dickerson wasn't bunting in that situation. And the Broncos roll him into a double play, a 6-4-3. His second time tonight he's done that. Mount heads over to third, but now 2 away, and here's Corky Welch. Corky Welch struck out 2 times against Drew Johnson, so I'm sure he's thrilled to see a new pitcher on the hill. 2 away here in the top of the fifth inning. And the curveball upstairs for ball 1. Garrett McKenzie waits on deck. And the pitch from Josh Thomas. That one's on the corner for strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. So 1 ball and 1 strike. And that pitch outside, ball 2. 2-1. Two-one pitch from Josh Thomas. on its way and fouled out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And my good friends from Cicero, Illinois, Jose and Migdalia Galvin, watching and listening tonight. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And this one's lifted high towards first base. Kasser actually will take it over at second base and retire the Larks. They led off the inning with 2 straight hits, but a 6-4-3 and a pop out to second will get the Broncos out of trouble. We're halfway through here in El Dorado. Hayes 4, El Dorado 4. Back in a moment here on YouTube. And apologize again. All of a sudden, we're having a few internet issues back on here, and Christensen did walk on that 3-2 pitch, so he's down at first base. Eberhardt at the plate with an 0-1 count. And the pitch, Eberhardt looks to lay one down, a high bunt foul into the Hayes dugout. Looked like John was bunting for a hit there. So no balls and 2 strikes to John Eberhardt. And a throw over to first base. No balls, 2 strikes. Again, if the screen does go black, we'll try to get it refreshed just as soon as we can. Usually isn't too long, although earlier here tonight we had a little longer delay than I like and actually got my mug on the webcam, which I hate. No balls and 2 strikes. Derek Berginski on the hill, relieving Brandon Bell. Berginski got the final out of the 4th inning for the Larks. And curveball outside, ball 1. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. 4-4 here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Christensen gets his lead off of first, and the pitch. Eberhardt taps it foul towards first base. El Dorado, a half game out of first place behind Liberal, coming into play tonight. And the pitch from Berginski, and a wave and a miss. So the second strikeout of the night for Eberhardt. And here comes Tony Colsing. Feast or famine for Tony tonight, a home run and a strikeout. He's 1 for 2, 2 runs batted in. Berginski looks over his shoulder at Christensen, and now the pitch, curveball, stays upstairs, ball 1. The Larks will send McKenzie, Beer, and Burns to the plate in the 6th inning. One ball and no strikes to Colsing, and the pitch hit up the middle. Nice play by the shortstop. Mount over to Ballesteri for 1, not in time to get the hustling Tony Colsing down the line. So Cameron Knight from the University of Arkansas Little Rock comes up. Two away in the home half of the 5th inning. Colsing gets his lead off of first. He's got to step out to the cutout and throw over, and he's back in. Cameron Knight, a couple of strikeouts tonight. He's 0 for 2. And the pitch from Berginski right in there for strike 1. No balls and a strike to Cameron Knight. Colsing stays put. Knight fouls it out of play. No balls and 2 strikes. Probably a good time to get out of town. The forecaster saying maybe some rain here tomorrow night and Tuesday morning. Haven't seen what the weather forecast is for Liberal yet. No balls and 2 strikes. And the pitch tonight is just low, ball 1. Out in the field for the Larks, they've got Dickerson at first, Alan Beers at third tonight, Brooks Ballesteri at second, and Derek Mounts at shortstop. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and Knight taps it foul. Derek Berginski from Arkansas State University. Hometown is Russellville, Arkansas. Kind of a dual threat. He can play in the field and pitch. Here's the 1-2. And Knight Soft pop-up out to short. Mounts got it. And the Broncos are done here in the 5th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, one left. We'll head to the 6th inning. Hayes and El Dorado are tied at 4. Josh Thomas returning to the hill for the Broncos. He relieved Drew Johnson. And he's given up 3 hits in his 2 innings of work, but no runs. Leading off for Hayes here in the 6th inning is Garrett McKenzie. Check swing, and he did check it. 1 ball and no strikes. And the pitch from Thomas, laced out into left field, and that'll 1 hop out to Eberhardt. So a leadoff single for Garrett McKenzie. 4-10-1 for the Larks, 4-6-0 for El Dorado. And here comes Alan Beer. Alan Beer, maybe a bunting situation. Nope. And that pitch low, ball 1. So 1 ball and no strikes. Alan Beer 0 for 2 tonight. A ground out to short and a fly out to left field. Young man from Bradley University from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he hits one out to center field. Sutherland coming in and makes a diving catch. No, it just rolled out of his glove. Great effort from Sutherland. Couldn't squeeze it. So the 8-9 batters with singles for Hayes. What manager doesn't love that in his batting lineup? And now here comes Michael Burns. Burns 2 for 3, a home run to lead off the game, then a single. He scored twice, and he popped out to second base. Burns looking to bunt. That pitch outside, ball 1. Burns from Wichita State, from Littleton, Colorado. And he's been a tough out all series long. 1 ball and no strikes. Josh Thomas to Michael Burns. And Burns squares, and that pitch way outside, ball 2. As a pitcher, if the batter's squaring around giving himself up, you want to throw it in there. 2 balls and no strikes. Josh Thomas into his 3rd inning of work here in the 6th inning. And the 2-0 That one's outside. That one's upstairs, I should say. Ball 3. So now Thomas has to come in with some strikes. First and second, no outs for the Larks here in the 6th inning. Burns squaring, but he's not going to bunt at this one, and it's in there for a strike, 3-1. 3 balls and a strike. Now what does Frank Leo want Michael Burns to do here? Good hitters count. And he's a good hitter. And he's squaring, and that one's way outside, ball 4. So the Broncos making things hard on themselves now. Burns was ready to give himself up. Instead, he'll go down to first base with a walk. So bases are loaded now for the Larks. No one out. And here's Brooks Ballesteri, who's 2 for 3. And Zach Beery is going to walk out and visit with Josh Thomas. Four 11-1 for the Larks. 4 6-0 for the Broncos. El Dorado now starting to get some action down in their bullpen. Zach Beery probably telling the infielders as well, what do we want to do here? And now the umpire will break up the party at the pitcher's mound. Salentine working down in the bullpen for El Dorado. So here's Brooks Ballesteri. Big moment in this game for the Hayes Larks in a tie game. Bases loaded. And the first pitch lifted out into shallow right field. Clayton Dalrymple has the catch, and he fires it in, and no advance from the runners. So one bullet dodged for El Dorado. Just not deep enough. Didn't want to challenge. The way the throw came up the line, might have been able to score Garrett McKenzie, but he's a catcher, remember, down at third base. So now here's Reggie Wilson. 2 for 3 tonight. Grounded out to first in his last at bat. One away in the top of the 6th inning. And the pitch. That one's in there for strike 1. No balls and 1 strike to Reggie Wilson. Wilson from Oklahoma City University. And the pitch goes off speed, ball 1. Looks like maybe Colt Weiner down there warming up as well for El Dorado. 1 ball and 1 strike. And the pitch from Thomas, that's outside, ball 2. Four to 4 our score. Bases loaded for Hayes, 1 away. McKenzie with a leadoff single, Beer with a single, and Burns walked. He's over at first. Here's the 2-1. Lifted foul out of play. Thomas craving a strikeout here of Reggie Wilson, but he's a tough hitter. Left-handed batter. And the 2-2 is fouled away. Wilson, the second leading batter on the Larks team, batting .370 this season. Just 7 runs batted in for Wilson. Two balls, 2 strikes.
And the pitch from Thomas is lifted into foul territory, giving chase Colsing and Eberhard, and no one can reach it. It bounces into the bullpen area. The field here in El Dorado, there's a fence guarding the El Dorado bullpen, but there is no fence to our right down on the Hayes side, and that's hurt Hayes on a couple of errant throws to first, where the ball is just rolled up all the way against the fence and down towards the bullpen. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the pitch. And that one's hit to Kasser at second base, diving to second, and it's a double play. Kyle Kasser catches the line drive, races to second, and doubles off Alan Beer. So bases loaded, no outs, and Josh Thomas works out of it. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Hayes 4, El Dorado 4. Back in a moment here on YouTube. So the 3rd double play of the night turned by the El Dorado defense, and that was huge. Bases loaded, no out. Ballesteri flies out to right. Wilson lines into a double play. Close play at second. This one went against the Larks. Beer drifted just far enough off of second base. So here's Grant Ware to lead off the bottom of the 6th inning for El Dorado. And Berginski leads him off with ball 1. Grant Ware walked and scored in the 4th inning, lined out to second base in the 2nd inning. 0 for 1 tonight. And the 1-0 pitch laced into the hole. Good sharp single for Grant Ware. So here's Kyle Kasser, who's got the defensive play of the game to this point. Kasser, 1 for 2, singled in Grant Ware in his last at bat. And that single by Kasser in the 4th inning was a 2-out RBI single. The Broncos scored 2 runs with 2 outs in the 4th inning. After Colsing and Knight had struck out, Ware walked, got to second on a wild pitch. Kasser, a 2-out single, scored him. Dalrymple singled, and then Sutherland, a 2-out single, brought in Kasser. The Larks then made a pitching change, brought in Berginski, and he retired Holcomb. That was the last scoring we've had in this game, 4-4 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Kasser fouled off, bunt foul, the first pitch. And now he squares around early. Kasser pulls it back, 1 ball and 1 strike. Alan Beer charging in at third. Kasser wants to bunt this towards first base. Of course, as far in as Beer gets in there, a hard bunt towards third could get past him. Kasser swinging, a hit and run, and he lifts it out into left field, and that's in for a single. Grant Ware heading towards third base, and he is safe. Ware stopped at second and then decided to go, and it turned into a close play at third, but it's a single for Kasser, a hit and run. So Chad Gerwick had the bunt on, but then seeing how close he was in, he let Kasser do a hit and run. And Kyle delivers a single into left field. First and third now for El Dorado. And here's Clayton Dalrymple coming up. The leading hitter, shall we say, for these Broncos. Came into this game hitting .422. Big spot here now for El Dorado. Throw over to first. Kasser's back. Tyler Sutherland waits on deck for El Dorado. Kasser chased back to first base again. Dalrymple, 1 for 1 officially tonight. He walked in the first, got hit by a pitch in the third, singled in the fourth. Berginski brings it home, and that's inside and high. Ball one. Ware takes his lead off of third. Kasser off of first. Well, the Larks in the top half of this inning got their 8 and 9 batters on. Now the Broncos have done the same here. And now Dalrymple shoots one towards second base. It's gloved by Ballesteri, but no chance of getting Dalrymple. An infield single for Clayton, and that drives in the go-ahead run.
Center fielder number 16, Tyler.
So an RBI for Dalrymple. That's his 21st run batted in on the season. 3 straight singles for El Dorado here in the 6th inning. And now Tyler Sutherland, who's 2 for 3. He's singled in his last 2 at-bats. An RBI single in his last at-bat. 5-4, El Dorado. Hayes thinking bunt, and Sutherland lays it down, and the pitcher Berginski's got it, and close play at first. Ballesteri was having trouble finding the base. Sutherland thought he didn't get there, but the out is recorded. 1-4. So that successful sacrifice moves runners to second and third for El Dorado, and here comes Matt Holcomb. 1 for 3 tonight. And this will be his second look at Derek Berginski, the pitcher. Infield comes in for Hayes. And the pitch, ball 1. Sparks Christensen waits on deck for El Dorado. And the 1-0 pitch. Hit up the middle, base hit. 1 run is in. Dalrymple coming in, and Burns misplayed the ball. Out to second base is Holcomb. He'll stand there. It'll be a base hit single, 2 RBIs for Holcomb. And then an error on Burns, allowing Holcomb to get to second base.
First baseman from Tarleton State, number 34, Elijah Sparks Christensen.
So here comes Sparks Christensen for El Dorado, and the Broncos now lead 7-4. So 2 RBI single for Matt Holcomb. Burns was ready to grab it and fire it home, but he missed the ball. That allowed Holcomb an extra base. So now Christensen comes up with Holcomb down at second base, and the Broncos leading 7-4. El Dorado's been good in the even innings tonight. 2 in the second, 2 in the fourth, already 3 here in the 6th. First pitch from Berginski, high, ball 1. One ball and no strikes. Well, the Larks missed out on a golden opportunity in the top of the inning, and now El Dorado cashing in on their opportunities in the bottom of the 6th inning. Christensen way out in front of the off-speed pitch, strike 1. Eberhardt waits on deck for El Dorado. And the pitch, and Christensen laces one foul and out of play. Matt Holcomb now with 22 runs batted in. And he and Tony Colsing are tied for the team lead. Dalrymple one behind at 21. So a ball and 2 strikes to Elijah Christensen. And Berginski steps off. 4-11-2 for Hayes. Now 7-10-0 for El Dorado. The Larks have committed 5 errors in the last 2 games. Christensen laces one out to left field, but right at Evan Gruner. So 2 away, and here comes John Eberhardt. Out of Kentucky Wesleyan College is Eberhardt. First pitch, down low, ball 1. And Eberhardt hits one out to short. Mounts got it on the wrong foot, throws it over to first with plenty on it. And that will retire Eberhardt, and that's the inning. But a good inning for El Dorado. 3 runs on 4 hits. They leave 1. We're through 6. El Dorado 7, Hayes 4. A new Bronco pitcher coming in. We'll tell you about him in a moment. You're watching and listening to Bronco Baseball. So the El Dorado Broncos will bring in Nick Salentine now. Josh Thomas wasn't stellar, but good enough. He went 3 innings, gave up 0 runs, which is the key number, but 5 hits and a walk. He didn't strike out anyone, but he induced 2 double plays. So Josh Thomas now stands to win this game. Nick Salentine in there for the Broncos. Salentine with a 4.61 ERA in 13 2/3 innings. He's given up 13 runs, but just 7 of those are earned. And he's 0-1 on the season with 1 save. And his first batter will be Derek Mount, who is 2 for 2 tonight with a walk. So Mount's been on all 3 times. First pitch in there for a strike. No balls and a strike to Mount. And that pitch, low, ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Nick Salentine delivers, and that one's high, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike to Derek Mount. Mount to Gruner and Dickerson. Quite a roller coaster of emotions for the Hayes Larks, you would imagine. That one's in there, strike 2. That 6th inning, both teams should have scored a bunch of runs. The Larks had bases loaded, no outs. They did not score. The Broncos got first and second with no out. They did score. They ended up scoring 3 times. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. And the first out of the inning. Looks like Wade Hanna's taken over in center, and Tyler Sutherland is moved over to left field, and Eberhardt is checked out of the game now. So put Wade Hanna in John Eberhardt's spot if you're scoring at home. Here's the first pitch to Gruner, lifted into foul territory and out of play. So Sutherland now in left field. Lots of folks watching tonight. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast here. And if you are, if you'd like to help donate to continue these broadcasts, be sure to drop me an email at cadenbroadcasting@gmail.com or get a hold of Vicky Bell or Doug Bell with the Broncos. The 0-1 pitch in there for strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes. 1 away in the Larks' 7th inning. And the pitch. And that's lifted into foul territory. Sutherland giving chase. So is Kolsing. Sutherland dives and makes a great catch. Right up against the bullpen wall. Tyler Sutherland. And checking to see if he's okay, and he is. What a play by Sutherland. So 2 away. Sutherland had to dive forward, and he's diving right into the wall there, and he made the catch and avoided injury. So Derek Dickerson comes up. Dickerson's had a tough night. He's grounded into 2 double plays and walked. He's 0 for 2. Hits this one, a sharp single into center field for a base hit.
In center field now we have Macquarie State University number 18, Wade Hanna.
So Corky Welch will come up with, we're going to have a pinch hitter here for the Larks. Brett Anderson will hit for Corky Welch. So Welch had been 0 for 3. Frank Leo not afraid to use pinch hitters. We've seen a lot of them throughout this series. So Brett Anderson out of Arkansas State University. Up there with 2 away here in the 7th. The first pitch from Salentine is outside, ball 1. Anderson's hometown is Overland Park, Kansas, up in the Kansas City area. And the 1-0 pitch, down low, ball 2. Anderson appeared as a pinch hitter last night in the 7th, and he struck out, and then he grounded out, so he was 0 for 2 last night. Swing and a miss, 2-1. No broadcast for the next 4 for El Dorado. Be following the Twitter or Facebook page for the updates. El Dorado's at Liberal, taking on the BJs. Currently the first place BJs. We'll see what happens tonight. 2 balls and a strike. Salentine steps off. Monday through Thursday, 4-7 p.m. starts out in Liberal. Long road trip for the Broncos. That's a pretty good haul. And we're back on the air here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with Bethany. And a swing and a miss from Anderson, strike 2. The Larks have only gone down in order once tonight. That was in the 2nd inning. And they avoided that again with that 2-out Derek Dickerson single. He's over at first base. And the 2-2 pitch coming from Salentine. And that's fouled away. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nick Salentine dealing with pinch hitter Brett Anderson. And the pitch, low, ball 3. So Dickerson will get a head start here on this 3-2 pitch. Kyle Kasser telling his fellow infielders probably going to have to go to 1 here on this play if it's hit to you. Kasser with the defensive play of the game in the 6th inning, catching a line drive and then racing to second to tag out the runner. Anderson fouls off the 3-2 pitch. We'll do it again. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Brett Anderson. Holcomb gives Dickerson as much room as he wants at first. He's on the move, and that pitch upstairs, and so now 2 runners on. Good at bat by Brett Anderson as he induces a walk, and now here comes Garrett McKenzie. McKenzie is 1 for 3 on the night. He singled back in the 6th inning. In fact, led off the 6th inning with a hit. The Dodge City A's with 3 in the 7th and 2 in the 8th come back and beat Liberal tonight. So currently, we've got a first-place tie. Thanks for the info. McKenzie looks at strike 1. So Dodge City wins 3 in a row against Liberal. No balls and a strike to Garrett McKenzie. Cameron Knight and Nick Salentine can't get on the same page, so Cameron runs out to talk. So the BJ's losing 3 in a row. El Dorado has won 5 in a row, looking to make it 6 if they can make this 3-run lead stand. But Hayes has been making noise all night. Wind continues to blow out. The tying run at the plate, and Garrett McKenzie. No balls and a strike, and the pitch fouled straight back, strike 2. McKenzie on the season has hit 2 home runs. He has 10 RBI, batting .255 coming into play tonight. No balls and 2 strikes. The pitch outside. Cameron Knight with a good stop. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to McKenzie. Alan Beer waits on deck for the Hayes Larks. El Dorado went to Hayes. When was that? June 4th through the 7th. Won 3 of 4 out in Hayes. 1-2 pitch fouled out of play by McKenzie. So we'll do it again. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the pitch. That one dives a bit low. Ball 2. Good eye by McKenzie. McKenzie struck out in the 2nd inning, grounded out to 3rd in the 3rd. Singled and reached 3rd in the 6th inning, but did not score. Deuces are wild here in the top of the 7th inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, and the pitch hit out into shallow right field. Dalrymple got a slow start. That one lands in fair. Dalrymple fires to 3rd, and he would have had him. Rounding and trying to score now. Play at the plate. Out. Brett Anderson is thrown out at home. 1 run does score for the Larks. So McKenzie will get a single and an RBI. Clayton Dalrymple nearly had Anderson out at 3rd. Ball got away from Colsing. He ran it down, threw home, and they just got Anderson at the plate in a close play. 1 run does score for the Larks on 2 hits. We'll head to the bottom of the 7th inning. It's stretch time here in El Dorado. 7-5 Broncos. Tony Colsing at the plate. Sorry for that, losing our connection for a moment. Here's a swing and a miss on the 1-2 by Colsing, fooled badly and strikes out. So Cameron Knight now comes up to the dish for the Broncos. Good to see so many folks watching tonight. Hope you're enjoying our broadcast. Do apologize. Again, said it many times. Those of you who are regular viewers know this, but again, we are dependent on that wireless internet signal, and sometimes it just kind of skirts in and out on us. So we just have to refresh it. First pitch in there to Cameron Knight, upstairs, ball 1. Cameron 0 for 3 tonight, 2 strikeouts and a pop out to shortstop. 7-5 El Dorado here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And the curveball in there for strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Appreciate the emails I'm getting from Jose Galvin. And I'm so glad you're enjoying the broadcast. Jose and Migdalia, they don't miss a game, at least the home game. Here's the 2-1. That's in there, strike two. Again, the 4 games with Liberal, I'm almost certain. I know they do a radio broadcast, and I would imagine they would stream those audio broadcasts online. If you look at their radio station is either KCSB or KSCB. It's one or the other. If you Google them, you can find their website and probably find out if they're for sure streaming. Knight chops one to the pitcher, and Korthauer throws a bad throw to first, and Cameron Knight reaches. So that will be an error, the 3rd error of the game against the Larks. Tell you what, Derek Dickerson at first did all he could to gather the ball and stay on base, but just couldn't do it. So now Grant Ware comes up with Knight over at first base. And the pitch to Ware, lifted out to center field. Michael Burns going back, still going back, and makes the catch. Such great speed for Burns. He plays that shallow center, but he can track most balls down. So 2 outs. And here comes Kyle Kasser.
Broncos, second base now, Oregon, Kyle Kasser.
Kyle Kasser has come around and scored twice tonight. He's 2 for 3, 2 runs scored, and an RBI. 7-5 Broncos, bottom of the 7th inning. Blake Korthauer pitching to his battery mate, Garrett McKenzie. And Kasser looks to lay one down, and the pitch is upstairs for ball 1. Obviously bunting for a hit with 2 outs. One ball, no strikes. Beer creeps in at third, and the pitch outside, 2-0. Both bullpens stirring here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And the 2-0 pitch, that's in there for strike 1. 2 balls and 1 strike to Kyle Kasser. Ground out to second in the 3rd, an RBI single in the 4th. He eventually came around and scored on Tyler Sutherland's single, and then a single in the 6th inning, which he came around and scored. Here's the 2-1, and that one's swing and miss as some leftover fireworks from last night go off out in left center field. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Might be one of those prize packs that Bill Young was giving away last night and Friday night. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here's Kasser, the pitch, and he fouls it out of play. The Larks will have Beer, Burns, and Ballesteri. Sounds like a law firm coming up in the top of the 8th inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Kyle Kasser. And the pitch from Korthauer, that's right in there for strike 3. So no runs, no hits. There was an error and 1 left. Let's head to the 8th inning. Broncos 7, Larks 5. You're watching and listening to Bronco Baseball here on YouTube.
So Beer, Burns, and Ballesteri will be the scheduled three for the Larks here in the top of the 8th inning. 7-5 Broncos. The Larks have been scoring in the odd innings, 1 run in the first, 3 in the third, 1 in the 7th. The Broncos doing their scoring in the even innings, 2 in the second, 2 in the fourth, and 3 in the 6th. So if you're a Bronco fan, you figure the Broncos are going to shut down Hayes here in the 8th and then score at least 1 in the bottom of the 8th. 1 ball and no strikes to Alan Beer from Nick Salentine. Second pitch, ball 2. Want to stay away from leadoff walks. Michael Burns is on deck. And the 2-0, low, ball 3. Three and 0 to Alan Beer. That one's in there, strike 1. The Larks have gotten their leadoff batter on in the 1st, in the 3rd, in the 5th, in the 6th. Swing and a miss, strike 2. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And the 3-2, bounce towards short. Colson cuts it off, fires over to first, and an errant throw. So that will be an error on Tony Colson. Tony is pretty much automatic from third to first. That one got away, though. So a 2-base error gets the Larks started here in the 8th inning. Here comes Michael Burns, 2 for 3 with a walk, 2 runs scored and an RBI. Burns homered to lead off this game. Singled and scored in the 3rd, popped out in the 4th, walked in the 6th. 7-5 Broncos here in the top of the 8th. First pitch outside, ball 1. Looks like Derek Feige warming up for the Broncos. And a hit out to Kasser and Alan Beer, who was doubled off on a very similar play in the 6th inning, was a little more on it there as he didn't stray off much on the line out to Kasser. 1 away, and here's Brooks Ballesteri. Ballesteri with a couple of hits tonight. He's 2 for 4. And the first pitch in there for strike 1. Ballesteri grounded out in the 1st, singled and scored in the 3rd, singled in the 4th, and flew out to Dalrymple in the 6th out in right field. Here's the 0-1. Off the plate, ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ballesteri came into the game batting just .208. And the 1-1. Hit towards short. Grant Ware's got it. Momentum taking him towards first. Just flips it over to Christensen to retire Ballesteri for the 2nd out. Advancing to 3rd is Alan Beer. So here's Reggie Wilson. Wilson with a 2 for 4 night. It was Wilson's at bat, which was really the key one of the game, as he came up with bases loaded and 1 out in the 6th inning, and he lined out to Kyle Kasser, who raced over to second base to double off Alan Beer and end the Larks inning in the 6th, one that started off with so much promise for him. Bases loaded, no outs. Zach Beery visiting now with Nick Salentine. And a pitching change is going to be made. Josh Witherspoon was warmed up, and he'll walk in from the dugout. So a pitching change. We'll be back in a moment. 7-5 El Dorado here on YouTube. So Josh Witherspoon, the new pitcher for El Dorado. Witherspoon, a 4.63 ERA. He's gone 11 and 2/3 innings, given up 7 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks, and 12 strikeouts for Witherspoon. He has no record on the season, but he did record a save. In fact, that was on Friday night. So Chad Gerwick goes with the lefty-lefty matchup here. Left-handed pitcher Witherspoon to the left-handed batting Reggie Wilson. And the first pitch in there for strike one. Nick Salentine went 1 2/3 innings, gave up a couple of hits, a walk, and a strikeout. And Wilson lifts one high into left field. Tyler Sutherland gets under it, and the Broncos are out of the 8th inning. So the leadoff error does not come back to hurt El Dorado. We'll head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Broncos 7, Larks 5. So the Hayes Larks go to their bullpen. Dan Hawk coming in, and he'll face the top of the Bronco lineup, Clayton Dalrymple leading it off. And he gets fisted here and lifts it out to shortstop. Mount will settle under it and make the first out. So here comes Tyler Sutherland. Dan Hawk on the season in his 5th game now, 7 1/3 innings, giving up 11 hits, 10 runs, but only 2 of those earned. 4 walks and 5 strikeouts. He's 0-1 on the season. Pretty good inning of work by Korthauer. He went 1 inning, did not give up a hit, and he struck out 2. Blake Korthauer with a good 7th inning of work for Frank Leo's squad. 1 away here in the home half of the 8th, and Tyler Sutherland up there, and he'll look at ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sutherland, 2 for 3 tonight with a sacrifice bunt. He's driven in a run as well. Left-handed batter is Sutherland out of Arkansas City, Kansas, and that one just off the plate, ball 2. Sutherland with a tremendous defensive play, catching an Evan Gruner foul ball up against the bullpen wall in left field. Sutherland way behind that pitch and shakes up the Bronco dugout. Zach Beery showed pretty good quicks there as he darted out of the way, the pitching coach for El Dorado. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Sutherland. Matt Holcomb waits on deck. And Sutherland jammed, and he's able to foul it off.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Bottom of the 8th inning. El Dorado 7, Hayes 5. All 4 games, very competitive. El Dorado, you might remember Friday night, game 1 of the doubleheader. Scored the winning run in the bottom of the 7th inning to win 2-1. 3 runs in the 6th inning in game 2 gave them a comfortable 5-1 win. Sutherland sprays one foul. Last night was a tie game going into the bottom of the 9th inning, and a wild pitch allowed Tony Colsing to score, and the Broncos won 4-3. So all 3 games up to this point have been very close. This one as well, 7-5 El Dorado here in the 8th. And the curveball, and this one's fisted out over Alan Beer's head into left field. He gave a great effort, but could not stretch long enough to make that. So Sutherland, 3 for 4 tonight. And here's Matt Holcomb. Holcomb, 2 for 4. A pop out and a ground out to third. He's also got 2 singles and 2 RBIs, and he is tied for the team lead in RBIs with Tony Colsing. Behind on the fastball, strike 1. 5-13-3 on the line score for Hayes. 7-11-1 for El Dorado. Dan Hawk fires it in, and that's outside, ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dan Hawk, North Lake Community College. Looks like he's going to UT Arlington. He's from Frisco, Texas. And the pitch. And this one's hit out to second base, and Ballester will record the out at first. Sutherland gets out to second base, so 2 away and a runner in scoring position for the Broncos. And here's Elijah Christensen. Christensen's trying to work his way out of a bit of a funk. He walked in the 2nd inning, struck out in the 3rd, walked in the 5th inning, and then he finally squared one up in the 6th inning, put good wood on it, but hit it right at Evan Gruner in left field. So officially for Elijah, 0 for 2 with 2 walks tonight. And kind of a check swing strike, 0-1. Wade Hanna waits on deck for the Broncos. No balls and a strike. Dan Hawk's got his sign, and the righty deals, and checking in time this time is Christensen. 1 ball and 1 strike. Christensen came into this game batting .309. 16 runs batted in. And he hits one out to center field. Didn't quite get that one barreled up. Burns actually coming in and makes the catch to retire Christensen and the Broncos. So let's head to the 9th inning. 7-5 El Dorado. We're back in a moment on YouTube.
So the Hayes Larks come up here in the top of the 9th inning, needing 2 runs. Derek Mount leads it off against Josh Witherspoon, and the first pitch in there for a strike. Mount is 2 for 3 tonight with a walk. He's been on base 3 of the 4 times. And the second pitch down low, ball 1. Witherspoon's got his sign. And the pitch fouled away, strike 2. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Josh Witherspoon dealing with Derek Mount. 4, 5, and 6 up for Hayes here in the 9th inning. And that one's fouled off. Broncos looking for a 4-game sweep. With all the success El Dorado's had this year, they have not had a 4-game sweep. They took 3 out of 4 at Hayes. Went 2-2 with Liberal here. 3 out of 4 at Dodge City. Here's one hit out to shortstop. Grant Ware's got it. Fires over to first. Low, and Christensen with the scoop. And that retires Derek Mount. So nice play by Elijah Christensen over at first. And a big first out here in the 9th inning. Evan Gruner up now, 1 for 3 tonight. And the first pitch from Witherspoon a bit upstairs, ball 1. Gruner walked in the first, struck out in the 3rd, singled in the 5th, and flew out in the 7th inning. And that fly out, that was the terrific catch by Tyler Sutherland, you might remember, up against the bullpen wall. (7-5) El Dorado, top of the 9th inning. And here's a pitch lifted straight up into the air. Grant Ware taking charge out at short, and he'll make the catch, the second out of the inning. And here comes Derek Dickerson. Dickerson's 1 for 3. He's hit into 2 double plays. Both were 6-4-3 double plays. Back in the first inning, Hayes was gearing up for a big inning. They'd already gotten a homer from Burns. They had bases loaded and 1 out. And Dickerson hit into that 6-4-3 to end the first inning, and only 1 run across for Hayes. Here's a bouncer out to short. Grant Ware's got it. And over to first, and it's a 4-game sweep for the El Dorado Broncos. And the Broncos are now in first place. El Dorado takes over first place by a half game as they head to Liberal for 4 big ones. Grant Ware a part of all 3 outs in the 9th inning.
Here one more time for your first place, number 1 ranked El Dorado Broncos.
So the Broncos moving to 16-8, and they have won 6 in a row now. Quite a homestand, as El Dorado swept Wellington here on a doubleheader Monday. They swept Hayes in a doubleheader Friday, won Saturday and Sunday over the Larks. And El Dorado wins 7 out of 8 against Hayes this year, a 7-1 mark against the Larks. All 4 games here in El Dorado could have gone either way. They went El Dorado's way each time. 7-5, the final score. And the Broncos on the line score 7-11-1. For Hayes, 5-13-3. 6 errors by the Larks in the last 2 games did not help their cause. So Frank Leo will have to gather his troops. The Larks now fall to 11-14 on the season. And they're a couple games behind Dodge City now for 3rd place. Hitting stars tonight for El Dorado. Well, they come up with big 2-out hits. Tony Colsing had a 2-run home run in the 2nd inning. But tell you what, Kyle Kasser with his RBI, 2-out RBI single in the 4th inning was huge, followed by Sutherland's 2-out RBI. Really a